There it is.
You can hear us.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is
going to be an interesting episode.
Give me a sec. I'm sharing this, and then you start us off. Will you?
Good. Live. Thanks guys for popping in. Today's going to be a bit of a different episode. We aren't drinking beer. We aren't interviewing anybody. And yeah, we've got a bit of a story. As you can see, Jake's official over here.
Yeah,
So.
hang on. Yeah, it's going to be tough for me to keep it together emotionally. I'm getting. I'm also getting lots and lots of messages. I think I'm going to give people a couple minutes to sort of pop in a moment, and I'm going to share. I'm going to start. I'm going to tell you the story.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about how to do that, Brandon. And I think the way to start is why don't you tell them about our trip? You just start off with our day Saturday.
The beats.
Yeah, you can start that part. And then when we get to maybe the end of that story,
Yeah, that's good. I'm getting it up to where I can actually see people's comments.
so I'll have it up too. But I'll be going back and forth.
Yeah. Bear this like 2
Please,
seconds,
anybody,
guys.
if you have any questions, I think we're at the point now where I'm going to be very, my family's choosing to be very transparent about the fire, and what caused it, and the situation you're now in. So if you have questions, I think I'm willing to answer pretty much everything. Right.
Oh, hey. Cheers, man. Alright, so Sunday, around Friday, we decide, hey, we're going to go camping, right? We're going to go camping. It's a good idea. We don't think about it that a lot of places are going to be closed, but I'll get to that. Anyways, we decide we're going to Cloudland Canyon. We pack up our stuff super early in the morning. We drive all the way up there. For anybody that doesn't know, Cloudland Canyon is northwest Georgia. It's way up there. And so we're driving all this time, and we finally get to Cloud Canyon. And there's signs up everywhere, and they're at max capacity. Like, you can't camp there, you can't hike there. It's unavailable. So we put ourselves down for a reservation. If something opens up. Anyways, sorry. Listen, guys.
Lots.
Yeah. So we get to Cloudland Canyon and everything's booked up. We put our name down on the list for a reservation. Obviously, we're not gonna get a call. You're good, Jake. You can come through. Yeah.
And
So we get there and there's nothing to do. And so there are some parks. There's a lot of parks that are open, but there's certain ones that are closed. So
this is my new bed for now. So if it's on.
So we go searching around trying to find, and we decide to go up to North Georgia to find a place. It's like a Raccoon Mountain. Yeah, it's called Raccoon Mountain.
Yeah.
We get there, we set up, we got our tent set up, we got fires roaring, we make some awesome steaks.
Yeah, it was good, and I think about 7 o'clock we made a campfire up there, and somebody on Twitch there. Hey Hunter. Yeah, about 7 o'clock we made a campfire and cooked, and then maybe. Thank you, Raven. Thank you. We made a. We were maybe 30 minutes after we ate, we get a phone call. My sister calls me and she tells me that she says, Jake, are you in the house? And I said, no, what's going on? And she said there's fire. The roof is on fire. And then I'm like, what happened? She's like, I gotta go.
We basically haul tail from pretty much Chattanooga
we got there at 3 a.m. and they were just finishing putting out the fire. And the fire started around 7, and they were just finishing putting out the fire. Um,
You did mention that it was funny that the second when it was at 7 o'clock.
yeah, it's
when you're building
uncanny.
them.
I build 2 campfires a year, and I'm 4 hours away. And I build a campfire at 7, and about the same time my house must have caught fire.
He prayed to the gods of fire, and they said, "Heard."
Yeah, to just have some normalcy. Me and Brandon, you know, I mean, nothing feels real right now. I've been slowly getting out of the shock phase, and there's been moments where I've been able to sort of joke about just the craziness that my life has become, and you know, we joked about how the fire started like that. And then, I mean, shit. When we got in the car, the first song we played was "Burning Down the House." Like this song.
Yeah. Your
And
dad posted a
but,
video
I mean, I
of burning
think-
down the house.
Yeah, even my dad did. Yeah, and that was another irony is that me and my dad, we both went right to the same song right away. We made the same joke, and you know.
So there's a potted plant. Kirby, a friend of ours, a potter, a skilled
my
potter,
God, yeah.
he makes this pot for Jake for this aloe vera, and Jake has not watered this aloe vera. I feel pity on it, so I water it when I go there. But he wanted to kill it. He wanted to
I
have.
wanted to kill it with natural causes. Anyway, the ceiling caught fire and collapsed. And the worst of the fire, one of the worst places of the fire was in the kitchen, and the ceiling collapsed on this fragile potted plant, and the only thing on the kitchen table to survive was the pot. And,
So
I think the aloe vera might have technically been alive, but somebody threw it out.
Yeah, so we had the joke in the car before we understood quite the severity of it, that Jake's been trying to kill this plant for a while, and now we're like,
We're about to get to the cause of the fire.
yeah.
Right?
So we make jokes like, Jake, the house is going to be gone, but there will be a potted plant with aloe vera beautifully sitting there.
Thank you, Garrett, for your donation if you're watching.
Or you know, since the firemen had to put it out with water, obviously, that would be the first water that plant's got since I do it. So,
Yeah.
but the plant didn't survive. Pot did. Kirby did a great job making that pot. It survived all of that. There's just wreckage all in the kitchen. Beautiful potted pot.
I'm gonna plug this so my phone doesn't die. And I apologize, guys. I'm gonna be a kind of an emotional wreck part of the night. Oh, thank you.
You need it.
Yeah. I'm gonna be. I mean, and I'm really glad that Brandon's here with me because I don't think I could really do this alone. I mean, this is. I think this is maybe the most emotional I've ever. I can remember myself being. And it's like, man. Right. Where were we? The
Fire. House.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
As far as damaging places that got damaged.
Well, there's. I mean, you know, we've been saying it's. I mean, we're fortunate in very many ways. Nobody was hurt. Thank you, Brandon and Brian. We're very fortunate that nobody was hurt. Very, very fortunate, and that's what's most important. But the house itself is essentially a total loss. And I mean, we were renting, but the things in it. That's my bedroom up there, and that's above my shop. And you know, in fact, I mean, we were very lucky in the things that we were able to save because we lost so many things, and everything that didn't burn was water damaged. So nothing is really exactly like it was.
Right.
Nothing at all.
You've got books of the house from your grandfather or so on there from 1800s.
Yeah, you know, and all the furniture that I mean, we had my grandma's table that. I mean, that was the one that the aloe vera was on there. That just, I mean, I'm gonna say that there's enough left of it that I can save it, and I think when I'm done with it, nobody will know
What happened to it?
Yeah, unless we tell them. And that'll be just a contribution I can give kind of to my, my family.
Survived the Great House Fire of 2020.
Yeah, it was been a hell of a year, a hell of a ride. Man, where was I? I'm all over the place. So
It's okay, man.
Uh,
So a lot of places in the house were pretty severely damaged, if not by fire, by water, just completely soaked. So Ella's room was just wet.
That's my sister. Ella's room was mostly okay, and which is amazing because that's the side of the house the fire started on. And then another thing that was amazing is that my shop. I mean so many things were salvageable, and I'm really proud of that as a woodworker because there's one of the great fears among woodworkers that work from home is that they're going to burn their house down, and that didn't happen here. My wood shop had nothing to do with the fire, and in fact, the flaming roof from the ceiling fell into my shop, and nothing in the shop actually caught fire. Everything was water damaged, and it's still a very terrible loss in the shop, but at least, I can only imagine how much worse it would have been if that was messy and there was dust everywhere.
Yeah. You had a lot of wood that
I guess
waste.
I feel like, I lost between 5,000 and 10,000, I think, in wood. I can't really.
The wood is very temperature and climate sensitive, humidity sensitive. So when you have 6 inches of water,
especially for thin plates like guitars. And I was building 2 guitars, and they would have been boxed, I think, next week, or I was pretty close. I was laminating the sides is what I was doing at the time, and it was really tragic because those 2 guitars that I've been working on, and Zach, if you're here, I was building them for Zach, and he's really, thank you for always believing in me, they literally just fell apart, and all the glue. I could break the joints apart just like that with my hands, and they were just completely and totally drenched. But a lot of my wood storage area was mostly undamaged, at least the smaller pieces. So I think I'm going to save most of my backs. I lost all of my tops without exception, and those were the most expensive parts. And all of my large wood that I hadn't milled yet is mostly gone. It was sitting in 6 inches of water, and I don't know if it was saving it.
Seems a lot of the tools and a lot of the actual equipment.
Yeah, well, that's true. My dust collector is fine.
A lot of your saws.
My table saw is going to be okay.
So you have to get some rust off of it, right?
Yeah, my bandsaw, my sander, the new thickness sander got wet, but I think I can save it even if I have to rewire it. My workbench will need to be reflattened, but it survived.
Yeah, pretty much the kitchen was pretty much unrecognizable. The upstairs and the living room got pretty bad.
One of the things I was most worried about, my granddad built me a cabinet, like a dresser when I was a child, and it was. He built it for me the day. He built it for me when I was born, the first year in 1993, and it survived unscathed, just a little water in the bottom. And that was a real blessing.
Right, that's the one that usually on the show is right behind,
you
right?
You can go by the house today, but not Brandon. Yeah, I know. But Brandon was there with me the first day, the entire day, and we were there 12 hours in mud and soot, and we were filthy, and it was very, very bad.
Yeah, Jay came home, right? He came here, and he hadn't slept.
Oh yeah, I got home at
9 o'clock.
I got here at 4. I stayed up until 6 and went straight there and worked until midnight or so.
He came here and he just passed out. He was done. He passed out for a while.
Yeah, it was
in a very uncomfortable looking position.
It was. It was brutal, but we're alive and I'm hurt, and there's a lot that we were able to save. Now I know everybody's kind of waiting. I'm gonna talk about the cause of the fire, but
Yes,
yeah, yeah, I can talk. I have permission to talk about everything. And I also, for those of you watching, I shared a fundraiser on my Facebook, and I'm so far I'm overwhelmed by the support. I mean, I wrote it, and I sat at Temp Coffee, which is one of the places that I work, and they let me sit there with a friend, and so that I had a clean place to work from it. And we took 4 hours, wrote it, and I think when we published it, before I was out the door, we were at $1,000. And it's really just overwhelming because we had a renter's insurance policy that would cover
very small
about
portion.
25,000, which I
That's
think
the max.
That's up to 25,000. We think that we're estimating that there's 50,000 to 75,000 in damage in the house, but we just at this stage we don't know really, and we may never know. I mean, I'm sure. I bet years from now I'll think of things that I've lost that I hadn't thought of in years, anyway. But most of the most sentimental things to me survived, and I'm very, very, very grateful for that. And other things that are damaged, maybe everything's damaged, but enough of the stuff that dear to me survived in a way that I can restore it, or it's not permanently structurally damaged. It'll survive in an altered state, I guess. I was getting a little off topic. I'm going to talk about the cause of the fire. So at about 7 o'clock, I would have been starting a campfire Saturday. At about 7 o'clock, my dad was outside, and ever since there's storms, we've had just an overgrown backyard, and it caused a very serious snake problem.
We live right next to the river as well, so
Yeah.
lots of snakes come from
And
the
it was
river.
very, very, very overwhelming, you can test.
Yeah.
Right, and we had we had this outdoor deck. I mean, it was big, it was cement, but anyway, right by the stairs, we had right by the stairs leading off of the deck, we had a lot of weeds. There was a lot of shed snake skin. My dad went out there to do just a little bit of controlled burning to hopefully get rid of the snakes. I mean, it was dangerous, and if somebody got bit by a snake and ended up in the hospital, I mean, that'd be as bad or worse than the house fire. So I mean, something had to be done. And anyway, he was he thought all the fire had been put out, but there was just a little flame somewhere that nobody saw, and he was out there with my sister and her boyfriend were there, and nobody saw this little flame, and then 5-10 minutes later, it had traveled to the house, along the edge of it must have traveled 40 yards before, 20 yards or something before it, it had been so small that nobody could see it. Anyway, my dad, he sees, 20 yards away, he sees that suddenly this small section of the siding caught fire and just melted. Anyway, he goes and he throws water on it, and it doesn't seem to help. And it was really very small looking at the time. I have a photo, but anyway. Anyway, Ty, my sister's boyfriend, is a fireman. And he was in the house, and so my dad says, "Ty, come here," and Ty runs over there, and he takes one glance at it. He says, "The fire's in the attic. Oh my God!" And call 911 right now. And he could tell just from one look. And 5 minutes later, 5 minutes later, there was 100-foot flames, and I mean, like literally nothing but 100-foot flames, and well, and the and yeah, the fire department was there moments later. I mean, not even 5 minutes later. We lived down the street from them, and by the time they were there was no saving it. There was no stopping it. It burned into 3 a.m.
Yeah, as we were driving up, they were wrapping it all up, and there was still smoke and cinder, and it was still.
We got there at 6 the next day. It was just too dangerous to go in at night, so I didn't. But I went in at 6 the next day, and there was still places that were hot, and the fire department came there at 6:30 to put more water in things. Since then, it's been cool. The ceiling has collapsed throughout the whole house, and then today the rest of the ceiling collapsed.
What was that at?
Oh, overnight, I guess. The rest of the ceiling collapsed.
In which area was it?
The wood shop. The whole ceiling of the wood shop collapsed.
Wood
But Brandon was there the whole time. The first day, we moved all of my tools out. We moved all of my fixtures and jigs, and some of them will survive, others won't. But we moved all of that out, and I mean, if I didn't have Brandon and my friends to help me empty that, then I'm sure there'd be things that are now destroyed because the roof fell on it.
And it being fast, like we got on it. Like if we were like, within the next couple of days, let's take care of all this. We were like, no, let's get it all out today.
I'm really proud of the fast help. We had a piano that we thought was okay. We didn't get it out. We didn't get it out the first day. The next day we came in and the ceiling collapsed on it.
Those are pretty durable though.
It'll be okay. They'll need to be finished. I don't know.
Yeah, no, those are pretty durable, man.
Yeah.
Especially old pianos, they're made out of good stuff. And the fire was out, so mostly just water and
I think
physical damage.
Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything I can answer?
Yeah, throw it out. Message us.
Yeah, I'm
Instagram or Twitch, Facebook. Ask us up. We're just having a couple brews.
Yeah, I'll finish this.
Sounds good though, by the way. Like we were going to talk about the beer too much. We kind of wanted to focus on this main topic, but when we were in Chattanooga, I figured might as well grab some beers. This is a Nashville beer, so it's not too far away. Yeah, it's a pretty old one.
Normally we're kind of a beer tasting.
Yeah, it's Yazoo. Yazoo. It's an Amber Ale, super solid.
And while I'm saying it, me and Brandon have been doing this show for more than a year, and Leah also was there the first day. She was also on our camping trip, and she was there the first day at the house and stayed almost all day helping us clean. And thank you for that. I feel like it's really been slowly setting in. I mean, at first I didn't see any difference. It's been rough.
You don't know. Still messaging.
I'm getting lots and lots.
It never ends.
Yeah, and Brendan.
But thanks though. These people showing love.
Yeah. Thank you guys. It's been very 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 difficult. I think it's literally been sundown, something rushing through my mind. Unless this has happened to you, I don't think anybody. I could have never related before this, I'm going to donate to the fire department. I think every month from now on, I have a new appreciation for.
These guys ran into the fire and
Hey,
grabbed out.
and I want to say, one of the things that I just thought of for the fire department, when I found out about the fire, I called Cy and I told him I told Cy that I had a customer guitar in the shop, and the fire department went into the I mean, the ceiling of my workshop was on fire, and they went in there and they saved my customer guitar, and with no damage, and
Yeah,
it's,
Sky, this is where he lived. It was also his family house, but this is where he lived as well.
yeah. It was my workshop where I worked every day.
It's where we filmed
It was where
most of these
it
episodes.
was where all of our episodes were filmed. We did that from my workbench, you know, yeah.
What was funny is though, this episode right here was actually, we had planned to do an Animal Crossing episode where Jake recreated the workshop in Animal Crossing, and we were gonna open the gates up, and have people hop in and basically join us on the show. And I wouldn't even mind doing an interview so people could call us up with their character. That would have been super interesting.
Thank you.
But yeah, that would have been pretty cool. But Jake's Switch, bit the dust.
Yeah,
Barely
there was
recognizable.
on the kitchen table and melted.
Yeah, it's barely recognizable.
Yeah, it has really been a difficult time. But I've been saying it all day, and the first day was the hardest, and that's behind us now. And most of the, I couldn't have done it without my friends. And one of the things I was going to say, and then about us hanging out and drinking beer and stuff, is that having a place where, after literally the 2 hardest days of my life, where I can go home, where I can go to, and just kind of sit and talk and have a beer. I really need that. I mean,
No doubt, man.
It's a safe place for me, and I know everybody here fully supports me. That's I really need that. And for anybody that's, thank you. For anybody that's just dropping in, I don't think I'm going to backtrack and tell how things started, but I shared the entire story on my Facebook. I posted a fundraiser.
Yeah, if you guys could go to Jake, it's Jake Lamb, find him on there.
Seriously,
and just share,
please,
just get it out there.
Seriously, it feels like our insurance policy is not going to cover even close to the extent of the damage, not even close. And we're going to need everything, I think, that we can get. And it was kind of, it's very, very,
Well times, man.
yeah.
Learning experience?
Hey, I'm going to talk for a minute. We're going to open the beer at 1.
No, I actually want to go to that stout and then we'll finish off. That stout is amazing.
It's good, but let's drink the Phantom. I've been waiting on it. I don't know if I'm going to be here to drink the whole stout.
You leaving?
No, it's...
It's on the show?
Yeah, I wanted to stick to kind of the strict hour. If we can... I don't want to repeat myself, or just, I need to rest tomorrow, and I need to really reflect and think, and I want to, the show is great, but I want to sit and just sit quietly and talk with my friends that are here, and so let's drink this, let's drink the Phantom, and you and I will split this out and we'll save one for the show next week.
Sounds good.
That's what I think we should do.
Yeah, let's pop that Phantom over then. So we recently did a trip to the Porter, and we got a lot of vintage beer, and we're very happy that the vintage beer survived. I know it's not a priority, but
it isn't. But this was in the house fire, and it's probably worth like $30-ish. It's 2016, and it's the 2016 Phantom from Belgium. It's
had to be more than
yeah,
30,
brewed with spices.
You paid like $100 for 6 beers.
Yeah, these things
you
are.
paid half off for
Anyway,
too.
I don't know. It was a lot, and it says it's a Blanche Saison Belgian ale brewed with spices. And I'm told that this beer is actually green with spices. And
Well, I have some glasses over there. We can pop them open. I've got a bottle opener over there as well. That's a beautiful Victoria glass.
And anyway, this is This is my most prized beer that was there. It's the one I was most excited for. Oh, we need a corkscrew. Hey, Michael, can you get us a corkscrew?
Didn't expect
A
that.
wine key? I forgot about that. I thought it would be attached to the bottle. There should be, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can
Do
go.
you, well, you would know where it is. I'll sit.
I'll let you hold the beer.
Hey everyone. I want to say thank you to everybody that's sitting here right now with me. This is kind of me at the most vulnerable I've ever been. I think I'm still deeply in shock. And I may be in shock for a long time. I don't know. But my hope is that.
I'm gonna squeeze by real quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're good.
My hope is that I think once things are, I think once we're in a new location and the house is once we're in a new location, a new house, and it's clean, we've saved the furniture we were able to save. Once we're there, I think then my life will start getting back to normal. I'll be able to worry about a shop and start building guitars again. And I mean, I think when that happens, I'm going to go back into things with more energy than I had. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. And also, like, unrelated but slightly related, more so to the show, if you guys can think of any businesses, like great, beautiful venues, like kind of last week's
we need
episode,
somewhere to go, yeah.
like the Manor House, we've done it there, we've done it at Pretoria. We just need some decent venues. One of the guys from the Throne of Tisca mentioned that as well. If you can think of a business, you work at some place, you think it'd be a good location for it, we'd be down. It's an interesting color.
This is going to be unique, and this is something I was saving for a special occasion. And
It's more special than your house.
well, Nick, Adara, I guess. Everybody, I'm not seeing everybody that's popping in, but thank you for everybody that's here with me right now.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Really, yeah. I mean, this show has meant a lot to me, and my friends that have been so supportive mean a lot. And I've really spent a lot of time reflecting on the people in my life that
I can ask my boss for the
bar in the lobby.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
I'd be down there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it really means a lot to people that are here, and I look forward to it, and I love hearing from everyone.
I'd be down for the flats.
All right, salute. That's good.
Yeah. If you guys are wondering, if y'all just popping in and you're looking at this picture right here, that's from the top of Jake's. That's actually Jake's bedroom.
Yeah, that's my bedroom.
Yeah. And it's almost unrecognizable.
That was my bedroom is directly above my shop. And,
It's almost an I Spy. Try to find something that's not
Yeah.
burnt or.
You know, I had there's two moments that were really memorable today. The first one, so Eli had that bedroom before me. And his debate, he was really into debate, and in high school and college. He was very, very, very good at it. He went to a national tournament many times, all 4 years I think. And in college, he was a national competitor, and he was very successful. All of his trophies were up there on the wall. And not one of them survived. He went up there. We couldn't convince him to come down, even though it was dangerous. He was
super dangerous.
It was very dangerous, yeah. And he was up there looking for his debate trophies. And I finally had the idea. I took a mason jar. It was kind of a pretty mason jar that I had, and I walked up there, and the spot where his trophies used to be. I picked up some ashes and put them in the jar, and I said, "These are your debate trophies," and it satisfied him. And I think he was touched, and he went back downstairs. And then before I left, I took some of the ashes from the ceiling that collapsed, and I put them in a jar, and I wrote on the lid my first workshop. Which,
Tough times, man.
yeah. I don't know.
Right now we're just hanging out, having a good beer, kind of talking about the sitch. Like I said, if you guys are new, just popping in. I guess it's on this side, reverse side.
Yeah.
Jake's bedroom. Surprisingly, the trade skills glass survived.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was
very
the ceiling collapsed on it and survived. That's amazing. Almost everything else that was up there on the
No,
wall.
that was actually in the workshop. But
Yeah,
there was,
but it was on top of my granddad's cabinet.
Right.
It was sitting up there on top of that, and that little cursed elephant was up there,
It
right,
survived.
which survived. But and your that big mug and the big
Yeah, the
thorn
leader.
bottle, those survived, and they
it took a direct hit from the roof.
but everything but the trade skills mug that was up there had been knocked off and fell on the cement floor. And I mean, the one thing that would have been doomed to certainly break was that mug, and it stayed up there untouched. It's amazing.
It's fortuitous.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. And Brendan took that photo when he came by yesterday. I told him to take a couple of photos because he has that wide angle lens, and he's spent many nights there. That was, I mean, honestly, I mean, I'm sure you're in some state of shock yourself. We haven't even had time to really talk about it, you know.
I mean, it was like a second home. I mean, we spent a lot of time within that shop.
Any other?
I mean, just a week before we were taking, or 2 weeks before we were taking glamour photos with Leah, like 70s glamour photos on the stairs.
On the stairs, yeah.
Which are almost non-existent now.
We'll share that later. So 1 week ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm just yeah. I mean, you must. I haven't even thought about it, but you must be in almost as much shock as I am.
Not at all as much as you are.
Well,
You spent a lot of time there. That was your place.
I know.
It's hard to recognize some of the things there, like how they were before.
But I really do think that it all is going to get better from here on. I mean, I think the hardest days are behind me, and I mean, I can only go up from there. Yeah. Anybody that's curious about what they can do for us, I shared a fundraiser, and we have a little bit of insurance, but it is not going to cover even close to the extent of the damage. And I share my whole story there for those of you that are just dropping in. If you haven't seen, if you weren't here to hear the rest of the story, to hear the story from me personally, go. I went into excruciating detail on that fundraiser.
And you can actually go to Jake Lamb's Facebook page and see it.
Yeah.
And if you give it, I mean, even if you donate, I guess we understand, times are hard, COVID, people are losing their jobs, unemployment.
Yeah,
it's been
fucked
even
up.
if you shared it, that goes a long way.
And I'm hoping that what we wrote, that I mean, maybe others, that even total strangers might be touched by the story and help out. I mean, that would mean a lot. And I think, but I mean, so far I've been overwhelmed by the support, and it's obviously it's very emotional. I've really seen who's here for me, and I mean, there's been a lot of people that have really been showing me serious support for that. I mean, I don't know what to say. It's been, I mean, some of my best and worst moments in my entire life have been in the last 2 days. And it's, I have so much to be grateful for, and so much, I don't even believe what I'm saying right now. I'm still in shock.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
Drink some beer.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I like it. You can tell it's aged.
Yeah. I can.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to my dear friend Hameen. We had been sort of on bad terms, my fault, but we've been sort of on bad terms in the last 2 or 3 months. And well, he contacted me, and he met me today, and he helped me write the fundraiser, and he really has gone out of his way. And, it was very emotional because he's one of my oldest friends. I mean, shout out if you're watching that now.
Yeah, shout out. He might not be. He just has
He
a,
may not.
just had
Well,
a
he
kid.
just saw me. And I told him to call him.
Yeah, he just had a kid and everything. So he's even our
This
Our chat earlier.
Mama Sharon.
I'm sharing.
You guys have any Fireball?
We don't have any Fireball.
Man. It's okay. Mama Sharon, good to Alan, hey.
Alan, yeah. So Alan, so we usually have the show at the Manor House, or we have the last 2 weeks, and Alan has done an awesome job of setting that up.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the events a little bit that they have at the Manor House. We've been talking. It's been a beautiful location. Alan's been really great about having it set up and helping us out. And he's been doing the mystery beers. He actually had 2 of them primed up for this episode, but I just haven't got around to like messaging him. I started setting this up, the studio in here today, and messaging him to let him know that we're not really drinking much beer. We're not really doing like a beer review and tasting today under the circumstances. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully business usual is next week.
I think the beer here is more for us to, because it would be weird to sit here without it in front of the camera. And at this point, it's been, today was the second longest day of my life, I would say. And the day before was the longest. I can't think of any.
Better way to describe it.
Yeah, I can't think of any better way to describe it. I can't think of a more emotional or difficult period. It has been absolutely, it's been crazy. And, I don't know where it's going. I'm sorry, guys. I'm emotional and I'm trying to keep it together, but it's not easy. What was it talking?
Here. Now we're talking about Halloween being awesome and helping out, and the amount of support you've been getting from people and people contacting you and showing you love.
It really. That's what I was saying. I think I've really seen a lot from my friends, and I feel like I've been really hurt in the last 2 days in a way that just hasn't happened before, and a lot of the things that I cared about literally went up in smoke, but I'm also feeling a lot of love, and I think if I break down a little bit, if I get emotional, it's not so much the things that I've lost, but the things that I'm grateful for, and it's it all feels really. I feel like I'm thinking very clearly after this, and I know. I suddenly feel like I know what to say, and I suddenly feel like I suddenly feel I don't know. It's been rough, and I'm glad I could be here winding down. Thank you for everyone that's here with us.
Showing some love.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
I
know this is a bit different than our normal episodes, and none of this is
It's more
misunderstood. Yeah, for sure. Even the location's a bit different. This is the like futon in my living room.
Which is
like
for now my new bed. Thank you, Bobby.
Right on.
Yeah. What do you think of Phantom?
I like it. It's good. I want to go in and get some more. You guys see in this background over here? I love it. It's unrelated to this episode, but it's basically like an old 70s, it might be older than that, maybe 50s lamp that it's an old fur trapper.
Oh, that's right. That's super cool.
It looks awesome.
That's super cool. Honestly, it's just in a terrible location. I mean, people can see us, people can see the beer.
Yeah, but I don't know. I really like.
Man, I'm gonna fucking miss a workshop. It's never gonna be the same.
It's gonna be better.
Well, that's right. One of the things I can take away from this is my second workshop is gonna beat the hell out of my first one.
And actually, what would be great about the second workshop is that we can, when we put it together, we can
do it with the show in mind.
Exactly.
I can build it from. One of the things I didn't like about my first shop is that I didn't have the opportunity to build it from the ground up. I came into a room that was already full of stuff, and I'm being able to go into a new room and plan everything exactly how I think it should be.
That's gonna be awesome.
That is I mean, I'm. It's. I think I'm going to reach a new level of professionalism in my work that I didn't have before, and I think I'm going to have.
So Brian,
I think I'm going to have the necessary energy to succeed in that, and I think I'm going to have the necessary energy to succeed there.
we probably should have swirled that around a bit at the bottom.
Perfect.
Yeah. You're getting all that.
Lots
So,
of sediments.
so a lot of these, like this
That's
Fantome,
really flavorful.
is bottle fermented. A lot of these are bottle fermented, so you'll get a lot of like the filament stuff at the bottom. So usually what I like to do, which I didn't think about it on this one, is set the very bottom, kind of give it a good swirl, kind of mix in that.
Sky, I think we might take you up on that. I really, I think we might. And we haven't interviewed somebody at all since the virus broke out. Not a single person. We've had a few people that we work with drop in, but you'd be one of the very, very few people I've seen that is. I mean, it's literally just been people I work with.
I mean, I can request off for next Monday.
Yeah, do it. Let's go down. Let's take you up on this, guy, because it's something that my dad tomorrow. Most of the serious stuff is taken care of. My dad tomorrow. I think he said he's gonna go to the lake and just sit and drink with his fiancee and think, And I thought that sounded really nice, and I think getting out of town would do me a world of good. So next Monday, yeah.
Because that was supposed to be Saturday. We were going out camping Saturday. That was supposed to be Saturday.
That would have been the first thing we've done since the virus.
Yeah, and that actually would be the first camping trip for Leah. She's never been camping, so we set up all the tents. And then me and Alicia, we went to go get beer, and
then
we got a phone call, and then we're like, we're still going to buy the beer. So we bought the beer and headed back.
I told them, when I got the call, I didn't know if it was a major fire.
I figured under the circumstances, beer might be a good thing. And actually what's funny is like we haul-tailed to get back, right? We packed everything up in the dark, we threw it all in the vehicle, and we haul-tailed. And somewhere in Atlanta there was a huge crash, so we're like stuck in the road for probably a good while. Long enough for us to turn off the car and get out and hang out outside the car.
Yeah. Oh, over an hour. And I-75. Bizarre. The traffic on this trip. It was sort of like maybe the ultimate shitty day, because literally everything from 8:30, from me being late, getting ready, from the park being closed.
Actually, we called around to other parks and they were all closed.
Everything was closed, and then and we called the day before to make sure shit was open. It was just for some reason it was the busiest it had ever been since the virus, and I guess everybody had the same idea as we did, and then parks are still operating at a small capacity. Maybe we just didn't have the foresight, and that's on us, I guess. But
no, dear, we don't really have the room for a bed. But this fits on the pool.
I'm easy and I'm very comfortable here.
Jake slept on stairs at some point.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable and very grateful to be here. And
I'm not lying. Jake did sleep on stairs for a while.
I did, yeah. Well, at one of my old apartments, we
you didn't have a room,
no,
right?
I had a room. It's that I would work late and I would come home and somebody would be sleeping in my bed, and I was like, what the hell? And then at a certain point, we just kind of hit fuck it and sleep on the stairs. Shit.
So you just have to walk down the stairs and dodge a sleeping Jake.
Shit, man. I'm gonna be honest. I love that. I mean, you're like one of the. I mean, there's. I think there's 10 people in the world that can take me out of the feelings I've had right now and actually make me laugh right now.
Well, just make me
fucking cheers. I mean,
look at
thanks for being there.
like the sediment, and so you got all the sediment.
Oh,
I don't know if you guys can tell
here,
the color
try-
in between mine and
Well,
Jake's.
this one has all the sediment. It's green from all the spices. I'm gonna taste
Like
this.
hold it up next to the light.
Right here. Is that okay?
They probably can't see it. I was hoping they could,
I'm
but
gonna hold it close. Oh yeah. That's the. Hold up the bottle.
you can bring that in, LeBlanc. Bring it under.
Oh, thank you. That's the Fantome.
That's his. Mine has more of a, not so much.
Yeah, it's all this. It's aged.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah.
These are bottle aged, so they usually get fermentation and stuff down
The
inside
heavier
down the
stuff
bottom,
sinks to the bottom.
which is why Jake's got he's got this here cloudy boy.
But listen, we sit this close to each other. We've been working together for a really long time.
Yeah, so
we're not going to get sick from each other, or we would.
I could drink straight out of Jake's glass, so
And,
it
so
wouldn't be an issue.
Taste it with the sediment, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll
okay.
taste yours and compare.
So me and Jake, we work at Pretoria and we make hand sanitizer every day. We make hand sanitizer, and we're covered in hand sanitizer,
Oh, yeah,
and
you taste the difference.
we're around each other all the time, and only the people I'm around are the people I live with. So it even smells different.
Yeah, just a little different. It's the same beer, but you get a little bit more body.
Yeah, it's got some tank to it.
Yeah.
It's got a little something to it, especially compared to mine.
Oh yeah.
Yours is like the densest.
Yeah.
What's that? You're good. Yeah, no, you're good. The camera's
I
like.
also want to say I'm really, really grateful for Brandon's roommates. I mean, some of them, Brandon and
Except for LeBlanc, man. Fuck LeBlanc.
Brandon and Jonathan both know me very, very well, and Michael knows me very well. And I've been getting to know Zach pretty well. There's
And Jake too, and Brian.
yeah. Well, I mean, Jake and Brian, I don't know. Other Jake and Brian, I don't know quite as well.
So I live in a
but-
large house, and I have lots of roommates.
And anyway, everybody has just welcomed me, and nobody's. I mean, everybody's.
You gave me a key, right?
Yeah, I had a key made today, and everybody has just welcomed me. And it's really what I needed. I needed a safe place to unwind at the end of the day, and I had that here. I would just be. I would be much worse off without my dear friends. And seriously, thank you to all of you that are here. Thank you to everyone thinking of me and my family. So if anybody has questions, if there's anything I'm leaving out,
If you're new, if you just popped in within the last 5 or 10 minutes, Jake's created a Facebook fundraiser to kind of help them raise money to get back to some kind of normality.
yeah, and
normalcy.
the Facebook fundraiser will fill you in the details. It
you can go to his,
explains the situation we're in.
right.
mostly.
You can go to his Facebook and you can find it there. And like I said, even if you don't have any money right now, which we understand, COVID,
Please
losing
share
their
it.
jobs,
Please.
share it. Sharing it goes a long way. That's
Yes.
one way you can contribute is just sharing it. Because Jake's an awesome guy, and I know this is like a tough situation. You're homeless, man.
Fuck.
I know Sai's used to this, but you're homeless.
I don't know. I mean, that's true. And it's no, but fuck. I seriously thank you. I feel like I have a home. I caught myself talking to LeBlanc and Jake, other Jake. I said home and I said here. I said hey, I'll be. I said hey, I'm heading out. I'll be back home later tonight. And
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously.
only
That's how welcome I feel.
If only we can find a way to work the wood shop out, man.
Shit.
I don't think any
It's
of the
okay.
buildings we have outside would
I
work
think
into a wood
in
shop.
2 weeks I'm hoping in 2 weeks we'll be figuring out a permanent location, me and my family. And I think in 2 months I'll be figuring out my shop. And I think in 6 months life might be returning to normal.
And you're like, hey, remember when we used to live out on this road? You're like, yeah, man, that was tough times.
Yeah, right, yeah. I think, we drive past the Publix over there and we'll be like, hey, wait a minute.
You drive past the grassy field where your house used to be.
Yeah. And
Because they're gonna, there's no saving this house.
Oh, no,
I'm gonna be
no.
real. They're gonna demolish this.
They're gonna bulldoze it to Teleland.
Like as soon as they get out what little bit left of valuables they have, they're bulldozing the whole thing.
Another thing I wanted to say is that I've heard from a lot of people at least a dozen people have messaged me and said the same thing happened to me, or their houses have burned. And I didn't realize stuff like this happened to that many people. And until literally 2 days ago. I've been overwhelmed by the stories that I've heard. And I think until something like this happens to you, the weight of it doesn't quite set in because it's something that I'm going to live with for a long time.
Right.
And and anyway, to anybody that's gone through something like this, you guys are tough. It's it's been very, very difficult. I mean, easily, I can say the most difficult time I've had. Brendan, I think we got 5 minutes left. Does that sound good?
Yeah. I want to thank you
good.
guys for being awesome, for coming in, checking
Really?
up on Jake, showing Jake some love.
I'm really grateful.
In times when you know you lose your house, or you know, like, we're thankful that his family, nobody was hurt. When you lose so much and stuff that you know your family's, your grandfather and your great grandfather, I mean, this is stuff that's been passed down. These are heirlooms, and you know stuff getting lost. It's awesome that people are kind of popping in and showing you some love.
Yes.
These are tough times, and that's kind of exactly what you need.
Yeah, I'll say it again when we're closing up. I feel like I feel more love than hurt right now. I mean, I think I am probably more emotional for all the love people have been showing me. That it really, 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 truly means something.
I didn't start to see you get emotional until you start talking about people. You're talking about the fire, all fine and everything, and start talking about people showing you love, man. I kind of feel like I saw a little tear, like a little water.
I cried just a little.
Yeah, I saw a little water.
I haven't broken down and you know, just like, you know.
Right here, man.
I mean,
Got you. Just
fuck off.
Papa
Fuck
Bear.
off. Fuck stab you.
Papa Bear got you.
Fuck stab you. Fuck stab you. Right, God damn it. Hey, but yeah, I mean it's this has brought me to an emotional point I don't think I've ever been at, and you know, it feels good. I mean, I feel like I feel like, you know, I think all of us, especially, you know, the pandemic and 2020 in general, most of us can say that we have no idea what the world's going to look like in a month or two. But I really feel like the next month or two is you know, I'm seeing nothing but things getting better. And I mean, I've been brought to the lowest of lows, and I mean, there's much to be grateful for. I mean, I think things are going to be uphill from here. Yeah.
So next week we will have a different location, hopefully.
I think.
And like I said, if you guys can think of a good business venue, a good location,
reach out to us.
that this show would do well at. You know, notice that we do get on. Yeah, we're good.
Just a moment. We might stall for a second. Hello?
So if you need,
good. I'm live right now on the show.
so let us know if
Hey,
you've got a
hang
venue.
on. Wait. This is Ty. Say hi. This house burned down too. It's okay.
This is Jake's brother.
Yeah. Sai. This is Sai, my sister.
Companion.
My dearest and most treasured sibling. Yeah. It's been an emotional night, and you're on speaker and you're live too now. So, anyway, yeah, it's been a tough, very emotional night. And I think I've come. Yeah, the last 2 days I've come away with a perspective that I didn't have before. And listen, I'm gonna call you back in 3 minutes. We're closing up now. 11 is when we're signing off. No,
you're awesome.
I'm glad. I'm really glad you called right now. Yeah. I'll call you back in a minute. All right, bye. Love you. Thanks.
Yeah. So if you guys can think of a location, a business location you think would go well for the show, I think it'd be great. Contact us, let us know. If you haven't seen Jake's post, go to his Facebook.
Please,
Jake
look
Lamb.
at my fundraiser. If you don't share, then, or if you don't donate, then share. I mean,
Goes a
I
long
understand.
way.
I mean, I know things are very uncertain for a lot of us right now, and
We'll contact
if
you,
you
Scott.
if you can't donate, then don't. I mean, I know things are really, really rough, but we've got 1 minute. What do we have to say?
Good beer.
Good beer.
Good friends.
Good show. This is the best show we've done yet. I think. I mean, we hit on some notes we've never hit on. You know, we've had ups and downs in this episode. It's been more emotional than ever. And this has the most. I think this has the most value to watch out of anything we've ever posted.
Yeah, true.
That makes me really happy. How many people are here right now?
We've had in and out. It's currently three. Yeah, three on
Okay.
three on the other one.
And others, yeah. Right. Well, thanks everybody. Thank you.
You guys have been awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna be on next week, same time. Like I said, if you have a venue, just know that we go on at 10 o'clock, and we usually prep for a couple hours between. Just hit up me or hit up Jake. I would say I'd be a little bit more reliable to contact. Phone has had an influx of
And
messages,
I'm managing the fundraiser.
so he might be a bit busy.
Social media, but I will eventually respond. I'm eventually responding to everybody.
So on that note, we're going to go ahead and get ready to sign off. You guys have been great, superb. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Really, thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao.
How's that hold up mine? We make it work, man.